Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Sunday, November 1st, 2020, and we are 2 days until the 2020 presidential election. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the forecasts right before the election and see how much they predict the actual results versus election day. So when we're taking a look at these numbers, keep that in mind on election night. When we're watching the results pour in from 7 p.m. onwards, we will be comparing it to where the forecast predicted each state. Now, one thing is consistent. Joe Biden is the favorite to win the presidency. Regardless of where you look, even 538, which gave Donald Trump a roughly 1 in 3 chance at winning the presidency 4 years ago, Donald Trump's chances are abysmal. In fact, on your screen, Donald Trump's 11.8% on the Decision Desk HQ forecast is higher than his percent chance of victory, according to 538. The last time that we saw any type of candidate, incumbent or not, with this percent chance at winning was Barack Obama in 2012, and we all saw the result of that election. So when we're looking at the Decision Desk HQ forecast, we're going to be going through these pretty quickly just because there are so many. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 forecasts to sift through. So we're going to be looking at the map. We're going to be looking at the percent chance of victory first. So we'll start. On Decision Desk HQ, Donald Trump has a roughly 87.5%. Joe Biden has a roughly 87.5% chance of victory. According to electoralpolls.com, that jumps up to being 95% for Joe Biden. According to racetothewhitehouse.com, racetothewh.com, Biden has a 98% chance of victory. And on the Read forecast page, Donald Trump has a less than 10% chance of victory. This is probably one of his lowest besides The Economist. Joe Biden's at a 93% chance. According to Lean Tossup, Joe Biden has a roughly 96% chance at winning the presidency. Again, we'll get to the map a little bit later. According to Plural Vote, this is probably one of the most conservative estimates. Donald Trump has a 37% chance of winning the presidency. He is the favorite to win in Wisconsin. He is the favorite to win in Pennsylvania, according to Plural Vote. However, Joe Biden is the favorite to win North Carolina and Georgia. So again, a very weird type of map. Wisconsin and Pennsylvania would be counteracted by Donald Trump's victories in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Joe Biden's victories in North Carolina and Georgia. But at the end of the day, Joe Biden is still the favorite to win. This is probably one of the the weirdest map that I've seen throughout the entirety of the campaign season. If this is right, well, then a lot of other things must have gone wrong. In the Economist forecast, Joe Biden has a 96% chance of victory. On the 538 forecast, Joe Biden has an 89% chance of victory. JHK forecast puts Joe Biden at an 89% chance as well. And ourprogress.org has Joe Biden at an 89% chance of victory. So let's circle back. Let's take a look at the Decision Desk HQ's map. It puts Joe Biden at 318 electoral votes, Donald Trump at 220. Well, this is why the video is probably going to take quite some time. We're going to go a little bit in depth into each of these maps just because that's a lot more important than the percent chance of victory, because we all know at this point Joe Biden is the favorite. But you can't count out Trump yet, and here's why. Even on this map, while Joe Biden has a very large chance of winning these 3 Rust Belt states in particular, it's not out of the question that Donald Trump wins them. 28% is possible. Things with a 28% chance happen, and they will happen again. In North Carolina, Trump has a 40% chance of victory. In Florida, another 40% chance of victory. So when Joe Biden has a very strong chance of victory, it's because he has so many pathways to 270, and he's also the favorite in these 3 states in particular, but it's not exactly impossible for Trump to win. In Texas, he's the favorite. Right now, Biden is the favorite in Georgia, but again, probably going to be very close. In Iowa and Ohio, Trump is the favorite. In Arizona, Biden is the current favorite. So looking across the country, some conflicting results. According to the Decision Desk HQ, Biden would be able to win with 318, which actually is a little surprising. I wouldn't say that it's 318 if you're including North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona, obviously, because that would add on to a very strong lead for the Democrats. I think maybe if Arizona and Florida and the Rust Belt goes blue, then sure, it could be 318, but it'd be a lot larger than 318 if the polls were, or the chances were accurate. If Georgia went blue, Arizona went blue, combined with these 2 states as well. So the Decision Desk HQ gives Joe Biden the states in the Rust Belt and North Carolina and Florida. Iowa, Ohio, Georgia, Texas, and Arizona are toss-ups. Now moving on to electoralpolls.com, we've seen that Donald Trump and Joe Biden haven't really been too close even from the beginning of the forecast. Taking a look at all of these individual states, not many things different from the previous forecast. Georgia is now a Trump state according to electoralpolls.com, but Biden's the favorite in North Carolina. He's the favorite in Florida. He's the favorite in Arizona. Looking at Iowa and Ohio, Donald Trump still remains the favorite. Like I said, Georgia flips. Texas remains in the Trump column. And then the Rust Belt is very solid for Joe Biden, according to electoralpolls.com. The smallest chance of victory for Joe Biden across all three states is 89%. So these states don't really differentiate from what the Democrats are trying to get for this election. Looking at the Rust Belt, looking at the South, looking at the Sun Belt region in specific, Joe Biden is doing much better than Hillary Clinton, and he has a much better chance than she did 4 years ago in these states. So again, good signs for Joe Biden, bad signs for Donald Trump. Now, on the race to the White House, they have their own electoral map as well. And as you can see, looking at these states, Wisconsin has a 99% chance of going to Biden. Michigan has a 100% chance of going to Biden, and Pennsylvania has a 97% chance. Now, I would say that these are a little bit more liberal estimates. Florida should not be 83% for Biden, but I think this just outlines, again, how poor of a position that President Trump currently is in. In Georgia, Biden is the favorite according to this map. In Texas, Trump is the favorite. Iowa, Trump is the favorite. Ohio, Biden is the favorite. So when we're looking at all of these states and you're looking at the margins and you're looking at which candidate has a percent chance of victory, well, obviously Joe Biden is the favorite to win the election. But in some of these more traditional, more solid Republican states from 2016, that seems to be not the case. Case in point, Ohio and Georgia. Iowa and Texas, while Republican states in 2016 and still Republican states according to the race to the White House forecast, you cannot deny the fact that it's still, pretty close. The projected margin in Iowa for Trump is 1.7%. It's 1.6% in Texas. It's pretty close, to say the least. Whereas in Pennsylvania, it's +6 for Biden, +8 for Biden in Michigan, and +8 for Biden as well in the state of Wisconsin. So here are the percent chances at winning. Joe Biden, 98%, Trump, 2%. So let's move on. The next website, we're going to be taking a look at the Reid forecast. Now, in all of these states, again, same story being depicted, except this time, the state of Iowa is now in favor of Joe Biden, and not a single forecast, Decision Desk, electoralpolls.com, or even the Race to the White House website, Donald Trump was always the favorite in the state of Iowa. And now Joe Biden takes the lead, according to readforecast.com, whereas Ohio, surprisingly, goes red. Now, again, consistency across the electoral maps. The Rust Belt does indeed go blue. But Michigan, surprisingly, is the closest out of all of them. I think that's probably the only map that shows Michigan being the closest out of all of them. At the end of the day, Joe Biden is still the favorite. These three states will probably vote together. I just think that it's interesting that they are, different according to the forecast in each individual state. In Arizona, Biden is the favorite, and he's also the favorite in Florida and North Carolina and Georgia. Again, probably ringing a bell because that's what the last few forecasts said as well. Donald Trump is still the favorite in the state of Texas, which shouldn't come as a surprise to too many people, but we will see some forecasts where Texas actually is in the Joe Biden column. Like I said, there are some inconsistencies, but there are also some very solid consistencies, especially across the Rust Belt, especially across the southern part of the United States. The next one to take a look at is lean toss-up. Now, they like to advertise that they are the most correct model, and while they have become the center of a lot of, Twitter speculation about a potential landslide victory for Joe Biden, you do have to acknowledge that they have only recently come on to publish their forecast compared to other models. Now, not to discredit them in any way, I just want to point out that they definitely differ from the rest of the models. So they are doing something, and they are seeing something in the Biden camp that a lot of other models are not picking up. And it's very possible that they could be right, and it's also very possible that the other models could be right. But this is probably one of the best models that we've seen for Joe Biden. While his chance at winning is still 96%, and I don't know why I'm saying still 96%, really highlights how much this election has actually gone away from Donald Trump. The Rust Belt's gone. Joe Biden has a very solid chance of winning in Pennsylvania, 94. In Michigan, 99. In Wisconsin, 97. In North Carolina, 83. Georgia, 78. Florida, 86. Arizona, 96. Ohio, 68. And this is the shocker, to be honest. The state of Texas, 71% chance that Joe Biden wins. And obviously, after we've seen those recent turnout numbers, Democrats are a lot more optimistic about Texas. And this model only reiterates that Texas is 100% in play. And, we've seen from Lean Tossup that they don't think that Florida is going to be a swing state. As you can see, they think that Biden is going to win it by roughly 5 points. But you do have to acknowledge that Florida is still Florida. They've voted very weirdly in years past, and they sort of are immune to election years. So I think that this model is definitely leaning a little bit to the left in terms of their expectation, but we will see in 2 days, and one of us will be right. And then when we're taking a look at the pluralvote.com, like I said, this is probably one of the most conservative forecasts. Donald Trump, this is the only forecast where he is leading in Pennsylvania, where he is leading in the state of Wisconsin. Now, if we take a closer look at the state of Wisconsin, throughout the entire campaign season, practically, Joe Biden was the favorite to win. But up until recently, not only here, but also in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump has retaken the lead. I mean, even in Pennsylvania throughout the entirety of the campaign season, Joe Biden has maintained a lead. So this is a very weird map. The fact that they have Georgia going for Biden, North Carolina for Biden, but Pennsylvania and Wisconsin for Trump is honestly quite baffling. I don't think that Pennsylvania or Wisconsin will go red. I don't think Iowa is going to be this solid of a margin that they are expecting it to be. I mean, plus 10? Really? They must put a lot of faith in polls that definitely, sure, have been accurate before, but you can't necessarily take one poll and skew the entire average because look at the, trend over time, plus 0.3, plus 5 at the most, and now plus 10 just realistically doesn't make sense that Trump would be doing better in a state where he's expected to considerably underperform than where he was 4 years ago. And no, I'm not selectively choosing. Like I said, there are outliers, and it's very clear that this forecast is indeed an outlier. So while Joe Biden remains the favorite to win the race, looking at some of these state calls, I am skeptical about the accuracy of this model. And we will see, like I said, in 2 days. So not a lot of waiting. Very easy to make comparisons in just under a week. The next model we'll take a look at is The Economist. They give Joe Biden a 96% chance of victory. If you remember, I made a video discussing the fact that Donald Trump had a mere 4% chance at winning. Well, here's the map. As you can see, Joe Biden does very well. I think that's something that we've established. Across the Rust Belt, Joe Biden has a very solid chance of victory. Now, the only thing different, I would say, we're not really different, just something that we've seen a few times being consistent, is that Texas is pretty solid for Trump. There are some models that like to suggest that, Joe Biden has a realistic shot at Texas. And I mean, sure, obviously 28% is realistic, but it comes down to a point where we have models where they have Biden ahead or Biden within, 1-2 percentage points. And then the other models which have Trump with a greater than 70% chance at winning. So we're seeing it all across the margins, and we will see in 2 days. But I think that's something that might just jump out to you as a little bit different. In Florida and North Carolina and Arizona, this model is pretty secure about how they think they're going to go. In Georgia, Joe Biden is the favorite. In Ohio, Trump is the favorite, and so is Iowa. So again, some type of consistencies that we've been seeing across the forecasts themselves. Same type of swing states, same solid Rust Belt, same pretty solid South, and then iffy about these 3 states particularly, Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia. The next one is the 538 forecast, and I'm sure you guys have seen this one countless times on my screen. So what we're looking at is the winding pathway to victory, and overall, Donald Trump does not have a realistic shot at the presidency according to 538. While they do give him Texas, and they do give him Ohio and Iowa, Biden is able to take away Georgia. He's able to take away Maine second, North Carolina, Florida, Arizona, Nebraska second, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, Maine, Colorado, Virginia, New Mexico. All of those swing states from 2016, Trump gets 3. So, like I said, Trump is definitely at a bad position when we're looking at these results, when we're looking at the forecast. Very consistent numbers across the Rust Belt. Pennsylvania is the tipping point according to this map. It's the tipping point probably in a number of other maps as well. We're going to get into the JHK forecast, which highlights some certain tipping points that have a very realistic shot of being tipping points. Right now, Pennsylvania seems to be the favorite. So like I said, we're moving on to JHK's forecast. Joe Biden has an 89% chance at victory if we're looking at the Rust Belt. Like I said, very solid for the former vice president. Now, we see some inconsistencies from the rest of the models in Ohio and Iowa, but still a solid southern presence for Joe Biden. North Carolina is going blue according to this. Georgia is going blue according to this. Florida is going blue according to this. Arizona is as well. So all of these states are following suit what practically 9 other models have said, or 8 other models, 9 including this one. And, Texas is still competitive, but Donald Trump still is the clear favorite, but some models do disagree with that point itself. So the model gives Joe Biden an 89% chance of victory. He flips the Rust Belt, flips the South, again, very consistent. And the final model we're taking a look at is ourprogress.org. And if we're looking at this model, probably, again, a more liberal estimation of what could happen, Texas is blue. Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, and Arizona, like many other models, are blue. But despite Texas being blue and Georgia being blue, Iowa and Ohio remain in the Trump column. It's fascinating. It's very weird how the electoral map has shifted. Texas, which is a state Mitt Romney won by 16 points in 2012. Iowa, a state that Barack Obama won, I believe, by 6 points in 2012. Again, voting very differently this time according to the ourprogress.org model. And the fact that this is even possible has really shown as a nation how much we actually have changed electorally. While the overwhelming majority of states have remained the same from 2012, 2008, it's still fascinating to see what demographic shifts can really do for a certain state in terms of how Republican versus how Democrat it is. So like I said, looking through all of these forecasts, one thing is consistent. Joe Biden wins the presidency, and he does so through the Rust Belt and a few southern states. But the reality of the situation is for Joe Biden that he is still down in Texas, according to the majority of models. He's down in Iowa and Ohio, according to the majority of models. So those are states he's going to need to ramp back up the efforts. But in every single model, Donald Trump is underwater in at least one of the models in any three of these states, which I just find fascinating. But these Rust Belt states, with the exception of Plural Vote, and these southern states, with the exception of Plural Vote, have remained pretty consistent throughout the entire video. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord link for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2020 election videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.